Nadia here from Bumpkins. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Krystal.
Hi. Hello.
We're going to be sharing information on 2 upcoming virtual yoga sessions taught by Krystal, presented by Bumpkins, in partnership with Kids Embrace, Franco Dreams, Sunstashes, and Collaboration Nation, April 1st and April 8th. At the very end, we're going to repeat the dates and times for those virtual classes. This is at no cost to you. All you have to do is tune in. Krystal's going to be taking over our Instagram and leading us in a yoga and mindfulness for little session. What we're going to cover is some frequently asked questions. I chatted with Krystal before today and just went over questions that I would have, gone to her for as a new parent who wants to introduce yoga to my little one. Lead the way, Krystal. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your journey with yoga and your studio.
Yeah, so I started teaching about a year and a half ago. I started in children's behavioral health for 8 years. So working with trauma and foster care and littles birth to 5, but also kids all the way up to 18. And I got certified to teach yoga 2 years ago and decided to leave that field and start Happy Om Yoga. And I've been teaching individual classes in the studio and in preschools around the East Valley. So I teach ages 2 all the way up to 18.
So for those of us who are new to the practice of yoga, tell us about some of the benefits of introducing yoga and mindfulness to children at an early age.
Well, first I'd like to say that I was introduced to yoga as a full-grown adult. And if I would have had these tools and techniques when I was a child, dealing with all the things that children deal with, all the stressors, peer pressure, hormones, maybe broken homes and all those things, life would have probably been a little easier. But yoga can help, stress relief, build self-esteem, build confidence. It can help with your balance and your strength. It also decreases symptoms of stress and anxiety and depression. It can build relationships. So that's why I love teaching family yoga, because I love seeing the littles with their moms, and their moms are engaged and they're dancing, and they're laying in their secret garden is our meditation, and they're just holding hands, or they're, littles laying on the back, and it's just building that bonding time. And even last night or Wednesday night, I taught my first virtual, and the moms usually drop the older kids, and they were able to join because they were in the safety of their own home, and the bond that they're going to build doing that together. So it builds relationships. It builds positive friendships. I talk a lot about kindness and being a kind person and what it means to be a good friend, but also have good friends around you and creating a positive circle. So that's a lot of the mindful piece. Be mindful of what you're bringing into your life. So there's so many benefits to yoga. It, from the bottom of the core all the way up, but it really can help build so much confidence, so much balance, and so much self-esteem and positivity in whatever else you're going on, in your life.
That's amazing. I practice yoga myself, but like I said, it's a whole different game when you're talking about an 18-month-old or a 2-year-old, even a 7-8-year-old that might have a little bit more trouble sitting still.
Yeah. And with that being said, I should have said, like, for the littles, it can teach them how to listen better. So listening skills, that's why we read stories, so that they sit and listen, how to focus on something, how to breathe when they're angry, or even how to use their words, because we know 2-year-olds don't always do that. So they respond with the way that their body responds, because they don't have the verbal abilities to do that. So if we're teaching them how to stop, breathe, count to 3, they're able to do that before having a full-blown tantrum. And I have an almost 3-year-old, and I do that with her all the time. If we're in the car, I'm like, I understand you're frustrated, but let's breathe. And she'll start going, just because she's used to it, because I've started it so young. So even with the little ones, it has so much ability to teach them skills that they're going to need, when they're our age, that young.
For those who may have taken a yoga class here and there, how is that different than taking a class with your child in a children's yoga class?
So different. You have to be willing to have fun, look silly, and get silly, because we are going to be the example for our kids, and they are not going to have fun and participate unless we are. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, could you imagine if a 5 or 6-year-old was going through an adult yoga class, pose to pose to pose to pose to pose? So it's not going to look the same. We start with some mindful things, some hands-on tools for them to get engaged and have fun. There's lots of games that we can do that are mindful games with our breath. Music. So it's a lot of, if you think of your music and movement kids classes, it can be similar to that, but we might be doing more yoga poses. There's lots of interaction. Like I said, sometimes I read stories, and in those stories we add movement, or it's just a story about kindness, and they just showing that they can sit and breathe and focus and listen is mindfulness. So there's so much incorporated into the classes to make sure that they are engaged and having fun, and they're not checking out. So the activities need to change, with every 5 minutes almost, especially for the little 2-year-olds. So it's going to look a lot different than when you expect to go to an adult class. And really, I've done these in the park, outside, and I always, again, tell the parents, you need to be willing to have fun and be silly, because especially for the 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and 4-year-old, I'm the one jumping up and down, looking like a, woo person. And, the kids are going to love it, but they're going to love it even more if their parent is doing it as well, or their caregiver, whoever that may be.
This one is my favorite question, because I'm dying to know, can Noah and I do this together?
Yeah.
So what's an appropriate age to start introducing children to yoga? Can Noah and I start with you on April 1st?
I mean, I introduced my daughter at 9 months old.
Wow.
So, I mean, we weren't doing yoga, but I was trying to at least start using the verbiage of even getting her to say namaste, playing some of the music that I play in class so that she'll get familiar with it, and doing it so she'll watch me. I would say she didn't start getting engaged until she was 18 months old. I have a little salutations thing, and it's butterfly up, butterfly down. And she knew the whole thing by the time she was like 20 months old. And I was like, whoa, okay. So introduction is different than expecting them to participate. It's a huge difference. So I think introducing, right away, the music, the sounds, the words, the breathing, all those, and modeling what that looks like. As far as being successful in a class, I would say 18 months is a good time to start expecting it to happen. But I would say every minute they're going to be like, squirrel, shiny thing. So you as the parent, or whoever is the parent, needs to expect that they're going to be running off a lot, and maybe they're gathering them back. But honestly, if the parent continues, the kid will come back. So if the parent keeps doing the class, or keeps breathing, or keeps sitting, and maybe they try one time, hey, do you want to come back? And they don't, as long as they continue, usually, I'm not going to say all the time, but usually the kid will be like, what is mom? Why isn't she paying attention to me? What is she doing? So they'll come back. My daughter is now almost 3, and she can pretty much do a whole class, and like a 30-minute class for her age group.
What about those of us with children that are a little bit older, and like the school age kids?
Mm-hmm. The school age kids are amazing. I love teaching them, because you can start introducing concepts to them about kindness and peace and respect and love and friendship, and you can start having conversations with them about it. So maybe I read a book about peace, and we talk about, what does peace feel like for us, and what does happiness feel like inside of our bodies, and how do we express our emotions and our feelings, and what healthy things we can do to calm ourselves. So I would say from 5 and up, you can start having those conversations.
Explain to us a little bit what the difference is between our maybe 5, 6, 7-year-old doing sports at school versus taking a yoga class.
I think that's my biggest battle is, they're in all these sports, and people don't see the value in yoga. Sports have value. They're learning teamwork, and they're learning how to function within that team, and play with other friends and interact positively. That's amazing. The difference with yoga is it's by themselves, so there isn't competition, which is huge because there's so much competition, which can create low self-esteem. It can create negative feelings about ourselves, where once these kids start realizing that yoga is a practice and it's whatever they need, and then maybe they couldn't balance very long in tree pose, and then all of a sudden 3 classes in, they're like, look at me go, and like they are really building on their own skill and their own ability and building their own confidence. And it's that inner work. It's they're learning how to regulate inside rather than I just lost a game and now I react and then learn, you know, the life lesson about it type of thing. So there's definitely benefits for both, but I think as that competition piece is taken out and they can really build their self-esteem from like within themselves.
Tell us about the tools you're going to be using on April 1st.
Okay, so every class I begin with, and you don't have to have this one, and if you have these at home or parent has these, it's awesome, but this is a Tibetan singing bowl, but basically it helps the kid focus. So I just ding it, and they raise their hand up, and then they lower it, and it helps them to show that they're listening and they're ready to focus on class. The kids love it. Obviously, there's another way to play it. If they're a little older, I'll show them that, and then they're like, like that's so cool. And then you know, for older kids, like I would say 9 and up, I will let them try and like explain how it works, and they love. My 18-year-olds at the high school I taught were like, can I try that? And you know, I told them it only works if you're breathing and it doesn't work if you're not. And when they couldn't get it to work, they were like, what the heck? Like, is this magic? I don't understand. So I use that in every single class at the beginning of class, and it just kind of helps. We're here, we're in class, we're centered, we're together, and helps them tune in. The next one is called a Hobersman sphere, I think. I don't know. Lots of people have probably seen these on Amazon or in science museums.
Cool.
But we call it a breathing ball. And for the littles, her name is Miss Betsy. So we tell them all to say hi to Miss Betsy. And they're all like, hi, Miss Betsy. But it's a really good visual because when we breathe properly, our stomach should get larger and then smaller. So we tell them to breathe in and we open it, and then they breathe out and it gets smaller. And each kid will get a turn in live classes. So they really like that hands-on. My daughter, who is, again is 3, will find this in my bag and she'll take it and she'll start going like this. And I'm like, okay. You know, like, oh, mama's proud. Yes. But she knows exactly what it's for. She knows not to throw it. She knows not to, like, that it's not a ball. She knows exactly that it's for breathing, and that's what it helps us with. I just got like $7 on Amazon.
Okay. That's good.
And then the last one I wanted to share, because the parents can make these at home and we can maybe post something, but these are called mindful jars. So I don't know if you've seen these, but they have glitter in them. And basically I talk about how all the glitter is our thoughts. And, you know, when we're feeling a little crazy, this is kind of what our thoughts are doing. But if we sit still and we kind of meditate for a minute and breathe, all of our thoughts will start to come down and settle, and we can kind of clear our minds to, you know, move on with whatever we need to work through. But I usually have the kids make these in class, or they can at home because it's something to do right now. But it's a great tool for meditation, or even if they're like, I'm angry and I need to go in my room and I just need to watch the glitter. So this is a great thing to do too. And they're so easy to make.
Is this a good time to talk about, do we need a yoga mat? Do we need to go out and get a special yoga mat, towels, flat mat?
No, I think the biggest thing with yoga and meditation is we tell ourselves that we need it to look a certain way to be able to do it. So we all think, oh, I need a meditation pillow in a quiet area. But then guess what? We never meditate because that's not realistic. So for kids, moms with toddlers, you know, maybe that meditation looks like 2 minutes on the couch, breathing and closing your eyes and just ignoring everything that's going on. So as far as yoga, yeah, if we're in the studio, we have a mat. But if you're at home and you're on your carpet and you're safe, then that's good too. The one thing I do like about mats for littles is especially if there's more than one, you can say, this is your bubble. This is your personal space, and you stay on your mat. And if you come off your mat, you're welcoming someone to get into your space just like you're getting into theirs.
How long is the session?
I think so typically a 2-year-old is not going to last more than, or a 2 to 4-year-old is not going to last more than 25 to 30 minutes. So that's pretty much what we've planned.
And anyone can join these classes, correct?
Anyone can join these classes. So please spread the word. We have an amazing community and this was prepared for them. But anyone can join the classes. Literally all you have to do is follow Bumkins on Instagram and tune in. Well, thanks again for joining us. Thank you so much. We really are hoping all of you are staying safe and in good health. And this was an amazing way to connect with you. We're hoping that we can book more opportunities like these with some of you. Please reach out to us if you have any collaboration ideas. We'd love to hear from them. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you.